have some new data regarding the new and used car market, so let's talk about it. And let's kick this off by talking about inventory data for new cars for the month of August. The average listing price for a new vehicle in the latest report was $46,841, which was down about 1% from a month earlier and down about 0.7% compared to this time last year. And while it is absolutely good news that this is down, we do still have to acknowledge that this is still really high, historically speaking. But the silver lining is that according to reports, about a third of all new vehicles are priced at below 46 grand. This is good news, and we absolutely have to acknowledge the progress that is. And it does go to show that the average price of new cars in today's market really does get dragged up a bit by these ultra expensive cars. On top of this, dealership incentives have also gone up, but more on that later. Looking at vehicle inventory, total amount of inventory for the month was 2.84 million units, which is fairly flat from a few months ago, but is significantly higher than this time last year, where inventory was at 2.06 million units. So we have seen a huge increase year over year inventory-wise, which is great. With average day supply across the car market currently sitting at 77 days, which again is a big improvement from this time last year when days supply was at 58 days. Now remember that while days supply and inventory may seem like the same metric just in different fonts, they are actually a bit different. Days supply is based off of not only the amount of inventory that dealerships have, but also the amount of sales that those dealerships are getting. So it's a sliding scale based off of that inventory and demand, while unit volume is based off of the sheer number of cars that are available. Now, when we look at days supply for automakers, you can see that there are some automakers that are really skewing this average, because while there are only 9 automakers that have less than the average day supply for the car market, there are 24 major automakers that have more than the average, some significantly, if not twice as much. And as we sit here today, Lexus has officially dethroned Toyota as the automaker with the smallest amount of inventory, which is actually pretty surprising given the inventory trends that Toyota and Lexus have had over the last couple of months. Toyota and Honda are trailing closely behind Lexus, with Honda sitting at third place with some of the best inventory levels they've seen in recent years with 46 days supply. Other brands that have less than average inventory include Tesla, Kia, Acura, Volkswagen, and Porsche. Now, when it comes to automakers that have above average inventory, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of them. But the real losers here, meaning the automakers with the most inventory, are brands like Lincoln, Alfa Romeo, Ram, Jaguar, and many, which all have more than twice the average day supply, meaning that they have at least 154 days supply when the average is 77 days. Not a good look. But Volvo and Dodge trail closely behind with 142 days and 149 days of inventory, with Mitsubishi, Mercedes, Genesis, Ford, Chrysler, Cadillac, and Jeep all having over 100 days supply, while Nissan, Hyundai, Mazda, Land Rover, Chevy, Infiniti, Audi, BMW, and Buick all having below 100 day supply, but they are still above that 77-day average. And these inventory levels are really starting to begin to poke their ugly head, and this is especially true given the fact that 2025 models are starting to roll onto dealership lots. In fact, as we sit here today, about a quarter of all new car inventory is 2025 models, which means that especially with 2024 models, these higher inventory automakers are giving larger and larger discounts, which is good news if you are someone who is wanting to buy a car from one of these larger inventory automakers. Though I do expect sooner than later, especially as more 2025 models begin to roll on lots, those dealership discounts will become larger. So even if you are someone who is wanting to buy, say, a car from Lincoln, Ram, or Dodge, or Alfa Romeo, I would probably hold off on that purchase until those newer models end up becoming more prevalent, because those 2024 models will no doubt be discounted more. Now on to the topic of vehicle affordability. Vehicle affordability is improving, which is due in part to the fact that car prices are slowly but surely going down. Interest rates will begin to have an effect on affordability, but as of this report, they haven't had a positive effect because this report was released before interest rates were cut, and certainly long before interest rate cuts will begin trickling down on the auto loan level. But the big impact here, almost more than anything as of this video, affecting vehicle affordability is dealership incentive. As we see here today, the average transaction price for a new car, which is different than the average vehicle listing price, it sits at $47,870, while the average dealership incentives sits at 7.2%. But I mean, come on, just look at this graph. While average vehicle transaction prices are much higher than they were pre-pandemic, and average vehicle incentives are still much lower, we have seen massive progress here, and that's really exciting. And according to Cox Automotive, dealers are telling us that the sales environment is humming along at a muted pace, and there is a growing pressure to lower prices, just as the overall cost index has hit a new record high. Now, what the overall cost index is, just generally and broadly speaking, is an index where we can keep track of profitability of dealerships. And what this new data is showing us is that dealerships are finding it much more expensive and costly to operate their business, and thus their business is less profitable. And while this may mean that some dealerships are less inclined to lower their prices due to this higher operational cost, it also could mean that when push comes to shove, some dealerships may have no other choice but to lower prices, because bringing in some money is better than bringing in no money. And to be honest, this comment may ruffle dealerships' feathers. I'm a strong believer that dealerships need to feel a bit squeezed in order for car prices to finally go down to where they really should be. And whenever dealerships were asked about the different factors that are currently affecting the car market, dealerships said that the economy was the biggest factor, followed by interest rates and political climate being the top 3 factors. But you can see the full list here. And while I know we are talking about new cars here, if you're interested in used cars have a 42-day supply, or 2.18 million units, which is actually unchanged from a year ago. The average listing price of used vehicles is currently $25,172, and the average mileage is 70,950 miles. And you can see how the available supply and day supply has trended over the last couple of years. The facts here don't lie. The car market is no doubt trending in the right direction, and we are beginning to see more and more vehicles available to buy, inventory increasing, day supply increasing, and we are beginning to see the spread of low inventory vehicle makes versus high inventory vehicle makes. You are seeing that spread widen, and the difference between the highest inventory automakers and the lowest inventory automakers, that difference is quite large. And I do expect that that will mean that some automakers are going to have steep discounts moving forward. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, I do think that the discount is going to get larger as 2025 models continue to roll out. Now, if you're interested in diving deeper into how to buy used cars, I do have my course, the Car Buying Masterclass, which you can check out and get $50 off using the code OFFER50. The link is down in the description below. And like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.